Okay, so guys, we're super excited to have Brion Armstrong on here today. Brion, will you tell me, I know what your title is, but I always say it wrong, so will you tell me your title?
Field development manager, which probably doesn't mean much to y'all. it's,
Well,
it's
they
a
know our coaches, and so he helps all the coaches and does all kinds of stuff. He's amazing. I actually got to meet Brion when I was at leadership training a couple months ago in May when I was there at corporate. And you had just started. I feel like sometime
I
in May,
was.
right?
It was like a week or two into
That's
this.
what I was thinking.
I was
Like
like,
you
hey,
had
let's meet
just
everybody.
hit the ground running. So, anyways, I got to meet him, and he is super knowledgeable, and he is actually helping people understand how to get ready for this amazing Spanish market that we already have. I don't know if y'all know, but corporate has done so much getting us ready. We have everything, most everything, right, is now translated to Spanish.
Hmm.
But I know for some of us, we're like, we don't speak Spanish. So how do we do that? So Brian's going to talk to us about that today and just how to get ready for Mexico. So take it away, Brian. Thank you so much for
All
being here.
right. Oh, I love it that you're here, and this is such a fantastic time because I don't know how many of you how long you've been with Plexus specifically, but one reason why this is so exciting is how many would have liked to have been there in the very first stages of Plexus building, what that would look like for the people in your family, your lives, and how that would change things. Now, this is actually that opportunity all over again because in the companies I've worked with, I have about a decade in this industry and I have about 15 to 20 years in health and wellness and building businesses. And so this is one of those moments where you go, okay, this is a choice that you have to make. And this is going to be for the next cycle of your life, whatever that looks like. Because when with these other businesses at the diamond level, when they first start, when the first 10 years, usually the majority of their money, majority of their income, the majority of lives that they change comes from their home market in the language that they speak. Then their next step, the next evolution of their business starts looking at that backyard market and what other languages, what other cultures they can touch, and that actually grows into other countries to the point where more than 80% of their income usually comes from outside of their natural home market where they feel the most comfortable. And so this is that moment where you can look, okay, this is where I'm at in my business. Let's really ramp up to take it to the next level. Now, how many of you have heard that we're launching a new market coming 2020? Raise your hands. Yes, no. I'd say if this was a Facebook Live, I'd say hit the love button a lot. This is going to be huge for you because when we open up Mexico, that is going to be a gateway to another country in South America, which will open up all of South America, which opens up a lot of the UK. So this is just the start of everything. But the question is, how do you start building in a market where number one, you don't speak the language and you may not realize what the culture is? And here's the first couple of tips, and then we're going to go into it. The first tip is don't worry about the language. You're going to find bilingual speakers first. Start working with people who are already in your contact list. Like I was on the phone last night with an individual who actually doesn't really speak Spanish, and the person she's speaking to doesn't speak English, and they're using Facebook Messenger to translate back and forth. But they're running into a few cultural issues. And I want to really cover a couple of those tips today with you specifically how to act today and work through those things. So the very first thing is working with these markets. Here's your hooks. You want to look at what weight loss is and you want Joyum. So lean and Joyum are going to be your two top sellers because those are quick, those are easy, they can have that immediate effect. Gut health is extraordinarily important to everybody who is on with us right now because you've experienced it, you know what it is, but it's not exactly the most sexy topic on the planet, nor is it something they're going to be able to get benefits out of right away. So that's the very first step. Lead with lean, lead with weight loss, or lead with skin health because they can see that. Whether that's you putting Joyum on one hand and then comparing it to the other at the end of a session, or it's you're working with them on their weight loss goals, that's number one. But number two is, here's the term that I'd like you guys all to put in your minds and put into your soul. It's called redirectional spending. How many of you have heard of this before? Exactly. That's what the faces I'm getting. Redirectional spending isn't something that I would use with them, but it's a concept I want you to put into your minds. How much does a serving of lean cost versus how much does the lunch they're eating at wherever they're getting it from every day cost? They're taking money from one thing and they're redirecting it towards another. Now, something that's extraordinarily important in the Hispanic market across the board is they love and they pride themselves on being value-centric, value-oriented, meaning they're not going to spend more money for something if they don't see huge value in it. Or if you can take money from something else and put it into this where they're either getting a better value for their money, meaning they're getting a better result to spending less, that is huge. And so working with them on that aspect, because if you don't cover that point, they're going to be turned off. They're not going to really listen to you, because then it just feels like you're trying to get more money out of them than they're already spending. So redirectional spending is a great concept. So, hey, let's lose 5 pounds together. But in addition to that, it's also going to be saving you money here, or you can take money from here and pull it over here, so you're not actually spending any more money and you're meeting your goals. Redirectional spending is a huge thing for them. So go with that aspect of it. And number two, you have to do it with them. This is a community that's all about community. You're going to have those few alpha dogs who can take and run with it, but the majority of them need to know that you're in it with them. So if you can do weight loss, you have to say, hey, let's do this together. I need to lose 5 pounds. You want to lose 5 pounds with me? Let's use lean and X, Y, and Z, and let's do this over the next week or two to get those 5 pounds off. If you approach it from those aspects, you're approaching from something that they can immediately get that buy-in to. You're redirectional spending. You're getting that value into the conversation. And the third one is you're doing it with them. You're going to have a much, much higher probability of getting a yes inside the Hispanic market. Now, these are important concepts for you guys to jump on. Now, I see everybody's muted. Does anybody have any questions on anything we've hit so far? Any tips, any experiences you've had? I'd love to hear from you.
Hey, this isn't necessarily a tip, but just talking about those two products, do we know yet what products will immediately be available in Mexico?
They haven't announced them yet. I've heard which ones are going to be there, but until they make the official announcement, I'm not going to go towards that direction.
I just didn't know, because you were talking about those two particular I mean, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm talking about those usually for the U.S. market.
Okay.
When you go into a brand new market, you want to lead with your core product line and what's going to sell. So no, they're looking at that heavily about what's going to sell as a hook and what the core product line is, because you don't abandon the company's core values for these hook products. To give you an example, Slim is always going to be that main core product, so you're probably sure that Slim's going to make it into the market. Just going to say that. But Joyome and Lean are kind of ancillary products that get people to move into it. So you look and see which ones are going to come into it. Because the idea of these hooks is to get them moving in the direction and then put them into the core products so they have the real experience. They have that full benefit of what's going on. To give you an example, Joyome gives that nice start. They can see the effects, but that leads to the conversation. As you know, what comes out here starts down here. So let's get you on some Slim. Let's get you on the ProBio 5s, so you can really start to feel the effects of what's coming out here and have that better skin health going through. And that's just a natural flow for how these things system together. Same thing with Lean. You want to lose that weight? Great. Let's start with Lean. Let's get them into a healthier habit. Let's start going walks every single day, whether that's you're walking via Facebook Live or you're walking groups. And then you move into, all right, now that we're losing that weight, let's make sure that our stomachs are being able to do their jobs, or get to do their jobs, so that it's processing all that nutrition so we have that energy throughout the day. Get a little bit of active in there, and it's going to be fun. But these are some of the high-level concepts with working with that Spanish market specifically. Great questions. How's it going over there, Jessica? Doing okay, Lisa? I don't know who iPad 2 is, but you doing all right? All right. Both Jessicas having a good time? Okay. And so here's the next step for you guys. And this is where I'm going to have you unmute yourselves when I call out your name. You guys ready for this? All right. We're going to do what's called the Infinite List Builder. Hope you guys got some paper, unless you're walking babies. All right? All right, so we're going to do a fun little game. And the way this game works is I'm going to give a topic. You guys are going to write down a name of who applies to that topic. Then I'm going to call out one of you. I'll start with Beth, and I'll say, hey, what name did you write down? And you're going to give me something about that person, whether it's eye color, occupation, favorite food, favorite flavor, salsa, I don't care, Dorito chips, active, favorite product. We'll go from there. So the very first topic, and we have you guys write down, is who do you know that could benefit from losing 5 pounds in their own mind? Not in your opinion, but in their own mind. Like, hey, I really just need to lose that 5 pounds. Write down that name right now. All right. Beth, what's the name of the person you wrote down? I can't hear.
I'm still muted. I know. I mute myself. I just wrote that down. I haven't even wrote anybody down now. I'm like a pressure. Ask Ariel who she put. Ariel, who'd you put? I'm going to put somebody down.
Her name is Lori.
Lori. All right. Tell me something about Lori. What's one thing about Lori that you know?
She likes to walk, and she just had twins.
Whew. All right. So we need everybody who write down the name of a mom who likes to walk. Don't write down Jessica's name. Jessica's name over there. Don't write down Jessica's name. She's already out walking with the babies. So write down that name. Awesome. Jessica Davis, what's the name of the person that you wrote down? Can't
Here,
hear you.
I'm gonna
Okay.
I
I haven't written it down yet. So, mom who likes to walk. Her name
Or
is
mom who's active.
Maureen.
Maureen, tell me something about Maureen. Favorite thing to do, favorite flavor, favorite color, doesn't matter.
Sorry. She's super busy mom, running for city council, involved in.
Nice. Okay, everybody write down the name of a busy mom.
Oh, hold on, Brian. Hold on. Sorry, I muted everyone. There you go. Okay, a busy mom.
Write down the name of a busy mom. All right. Joni, what's the name that you wrote down? Joni.
Sorry, I had to unmute, and I'm driving, so I didn't write anybody down. But I thought of a busy mom, and her name is Sheila. She's my neighbor.
Sheila. Oh, I love it. So what about Sheila? What's one thing about Sheila? She's your neighbor. What more than that?
Neighbor.
What's your favorite?
She's her kids are both grown, so she's a busy mom, and then she's also a very busy grandma. And she's always on the go, going to their sporting events and dance and all kinds of stuff.
All right, so everybody write down the name of a mom who is busy taking care of kids or busy taking care of grandkids. Great, I love that one. That was a good call out, Joni. All right, Monique, what's the name that you wrote down?
Sorry, I'm multitasking.
Busy moms unite.
Busy mom is Donna.
Busy mom is Donna. Okay, tell me something about Donna. Other than she's a mom and she's busy, she's taking care of her kids and walks. What's something else we can do? What's her favorite color, favorite sport, favorite food, favorite color, favorite dance, favorite music? What? Anything out there?
I'm sure her favorite food is cheese. They run a cheese plant also. She runs a completely other business. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So everybody write down somebody that you know likes cheese or runs a business. Or is cheesy. Either way. Don't put my name down. All right, Scott, you're up next, brother.
Oh, he's coming. He just sat down. Our kids just walked. I can see him in the kitchen. Our kids just walked in the house. So, oh yeah, they just walked in a new football uniform. So sorry, that was.
That's all right. No worries. We'll go with Kendall then. Kendall, what's the name you wrote down?
The same thing may be going on at Kendall's house because she lives 2 minutes down the road with the same thing going on at her house. You mean to tell you?
Y'all didn't know this was going to be interactive, did you?
Sorry. I wrote down Justin.
All right. What's something about them?
Justin actually is a chiropractor, and his wife is actually from Mexico.
Wow. All right. Write down the name of somebody that you know is Hispanic. Whether in language, whether in culture, whether in sites. Go ahead and write that name down. I like how that went. I love it. All right, everybody. Now you can see how this flows. Now here's your challenge. Let me see. Can I share a screen here? Let me jump over here. I'm going to log into a test account here. Moment, please. And I want to show you guys where to find the Spanish tools. Would that be of interest to all y'all?
Yes, perfect.
Maybe just a little bit, kind of, sort of.
And I love that activity, by the way. Ariel texted me too. She's like, "This is great. We're gonna be taking that team. I'll just get ready."
And it's a fun, easy activity. And when you're doing it live with your teams, you can give out prizes, and it's very, very fast paced. Because since all of you are leaders, I want to help you with something. There's a filter that goes off in the mind when you say, "Who do you know?" That instantaneously the mind goes. Because what happens is you have this amazing thing in the back of your head called the reticular formation. Its entire purpose is to filter stuff. How many guys have bought a car before in your life? Raise your hand. How often did that car all of a sudden show up out of nowhere after you start looking at it? Raise your hand. It happens all the time, right? That's the back of your brain, because what it does, your body's receiving thousands upon thousands of messages every single second. Clothes are touching your body, but you didn't realize it until I said it. Your tongue's at the top of your mouth, and now they're dropping the bottom of your mouth because I said it. All these things your brain actually knows every single second, but its job is to filter through it. So when you ask somebody, who do you know, it's too much. The filter goes bang, and it stops. So going through these filters, like who do you know that can lose 5 pounds? Who do you know who is Hispanic? And just going down that list and make it fun, it actually gives the brain the ability to put itself on a better path. So you can find those names, so you can be more productive and be more active with it. So it's a fun thing to do. Just saying. All right, we're going to choose this ID over here, choose a test account. We're going to hit the share button. We're going to go with screen number, what is this, screen 3? All right, share. And you get to see the back end workings of how we do these things. And we can go in, we're going to play into an account here. Maybe. Houston, we have. Apparently I don't know my own password, but that's okay. All right. So as soon as it logs, I'm going to show you guys how we jump into the Spanish setting. There we go. Now this is your back office. Looks normal. You guys are used to this. Used to this scene. Have you come down here and hit this button before? And I see faces scrolling in. I love it. At the bottom right hand of the screen, if you scroll all the way down, so let's start at the top, scroll all the way to the bottom right, you have this little button where you can actually change languages, where you can come here to the training center, and there's the resource library. If I change languages, you can hit that button. It turns into Biblioteca de Recursos, which is the same thing as resource library. Crazy talk. And it's laid out exactly the same way the English is. You have your sharing system. You have send, share, invite. So here's send, here's share, here's invite. And you can go in and you can actually look at my story. It's coming over here. You probably recognize Video Plexus One World, presentation of opportunity, slim microbiome activating, X Factor, lean vegetarian. So you guys can actually see what's going on. You can come down here to Compartir Plexus, which is Share Plexus. You can look at products. And check it out, lean,
Awesome.
active, lean. So you have your shareables that you're used to using, so you have those hooks, so you can start doing it. Now, for all of you who wrote down names, congratulations. I'm going to give you guys a 24-hour challenge. The first person, let's do this, the first 3 people, because there's a lot of people on this call, the first 3 people who can get to 20 contacts, I'm going to send you balance, I'm going to send you active. So you got to send out 20 of these. Again, just sending out behavioral, sending out 20 contacts, whether it's active, whether it's lean, whether it's join, whatever you want. Go ahead and send out 20 of those within the next 24 to 48 hours, because for you guys to really get traction, 24 to 40 hours is kind of the max activating schedule. How many guys were at a convention and heard Mel Robbins? That 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is no joke. You actually have 24 hours usually to get into activation after you've learned a concept. If you can apply it immediately, it goes up. So you guys, in the next 24 to 48 hours, if you can contact 20 people, you're going to have a much better momentum at what we're doing today. So going back over those steps, lead with something that's going to be immediately applicable in their life, whether that's lose 5 pounds, whether that's have better skincare because they're getting ready for something. Go into it that way. Number 2, redirectional spending. So it's not pulling money out of nowhere. It's taking money from something they're already doing to a new thing so they can continue to flow through it. And number 3, you're doing it with them. If you're doing skincare regimen, you're doing it with them to get better skin for yourself and them. If they're losing 5 pounds, you're losing the 5 pounds with them, or healthier lifestyle. Does that make sense? And the next 2 days, contacting 20 people, that's something you can totally do, because these are easy send, share, invites, whether you're sending out, and then by the way, these should be warm contacts, people who can be warm with you and warm back to you. Not necessarily a cold contact you haven't spoken to in a while. This is somebody who can share their feelings with you, what's going on in their life, so they can be moving forward with them. But definitely send out, for those busy moms you have, Plexus Active is fantastic because it helps that focus as well as that energy. They're not going to have that high up, they're not going to have that hard crash, and they're not going to get those jitters. That focus is huge for moms. How many of you have more than 1 kid at the house? Or have had more than 1 kid at the house? How many of you have had 2 kids at the house? How many of you had 3 kids at the house? You guys ever heard what Mark Twain says about kids? Said 2 kids is a riot, 3 kids is an insurrection, and then you add their friends on top of it. Active is necessary. You need it in your life. You need that gut health. You need that mental acuity and that sharpness, because they only get sharper with age. So that's a good hook. It's like, hey, this is going to be good. I'm adding this to my lean, so I have that sharpness, but I also am able to go with the energy that I need to go with. So in the next 24 to 40 hours, send that out. And again, the first 3 people on this call, so that's Kendall, Monique, Cody, Jessica, Tracy, moving the chat box. Ariel, Robin, Joni, Lisa, Kelsey, woo, Susan, Scott, you too, brother. Tracy, iPad too. I'm not sure who you are, but props to keeping it anonymous. All of you, go out today and do this, because if you spend the next 20 to 30 minutes of your business hours, I guarantee you can send, share, and invite at least 20 people in the next hour. This is not a tough concept. It's just activating and getting through it. Don't think about it, just do it, and we'll see how it goes. You guys have any questions for me? I'm willing to sit here for you, answer questions. I'm willing to do a follow-up in a couple weeks, see how you've been, and we can pivot and progress together. What are you guys' thoughts?
If y'all have questions, either put it in the chat or unmute. I'm having a problem. I can't manipulate my screen right now for some reason, so I can't see raising your hands. So if y'all have a question, either put it in the chat or just hit unmute. I don't know what my screen is doing.
Question, I had to step away when you were talking about the contest deal. Was it just doing the send, share, and invite? Is that what you were talking about? Utilize?
Gotcha. Contact 20 people within the next 24 to 48 hours. And I guarantee you that if you spend the next hour doing this, however you contact them, you're going to be able to get 20 within the next hour. Again, I'm more focused on the behavior than the results. Most people go, well, I need to get this many sales in X, Y, and Z. I go, okay, but how do we get there? And I focus completely on the behavioral aspect of that. If you send out to 20 people, more than likely you're going to get one or two bites. So to get somebody a diamond, I focus completely on what are the diamond habits to get them there. So for today, to get your Spanish market started today, right now, it's what can you do in the next 24 to 48 hours that's behavioral, completely inside your control, they can move forward with. Make sense?
Yes.
I like it. I like it.
And I know a lot of times we'll do, when we get done with our Zooms, we'll do power hour, and it's amazing. People can, I mean, like you said, you can knock out 20 people really in 20 minutes if you sit down and just do it. It's not, not super hard. So just a challenge of sitting down and doing that, right?
It's that anxiety, I'm telling you. Yeah. It'll get you.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Well, this is great. And I really just, one, I know I've seen all that, but it's nice to see it again, like what all we have that's already translated for us. That's seriously amazing. And I know they've spent hours and hours and hours and hours doing that. We used to not have any of that. And so, Mexico's like super exciting for so many of us too, because I mean, I know this team's going to take off with Mexico for sure. Again, I love just this little, infinite list builder. We will be doing that again for sure, because it just makes you think outside the box and of other people as well too. So anyways, this has been great and very informational. Nobody has any questions. I mean, you have corporate right here on there. You have no questions. Somebody should have a question.
I have
That's
a question.
Okay if you don't.
Okay.
Oh, what's the question?
Yep. My question is, so is there an official launch date, or is this January 1 of 2020, or, when will it be announced?
That's a fantastic question, Susan. It's a really good question. We haven't announced it for a couple of reasons. To give you an example that's not Plexus related, I was actually launching a market with another country, with another company. And we were 2 weeks away from announcing the dates. And a regulatory issue happened, and it actually delayed the market launch by a while. And so we didn't want to break trust with our field by telling them the date and then having something shift that was outside of our control. Now, the nice thing here is they have it pretty dialed in within about a 2 to 3 month stretch of when that's going to actually happen. We want to make sure we have everything in place before we announce, because here's how these things tend to roll out. You don't just announce a launch date, you also launch what's called a pre-launch date, where people actually go into the country and they are prospecting, they're sharing, they're working with people, and they actually build an entire tree prior to launch, that when your first day happens, it's thousands upon thousands of enrollments. And so when you hear the announcement, we're also going to be telling you when you can go in, what products will be available, so that you're rolling with a full plan with more than enough time to launch into it. And right now, I know all of you have friends in Mexico who want to launch. We don't want to lose that momentum. The best thing you can do right now is building in your home market. Anybody who is bilingual or even Spanish speaking, work with them in your home market, in your backyard right now, because here's what's going to happen. If you're working with that now, you're going to have an entire infrastructure in your own team set up to support Mexico when it launches, whether you can go there personally or not, whether people you're bringing on right now can go there personally or not, instead of waiting until that person comes on and not really getting the momentum. Plus, you're going to have that nice reciprocity. If they know somebody in Mexico, obviously people in Mexico, you know people here, you're going to have those things set up. That's why acting within those next 24 to 48 hours is an important thing for you here and now. So when Mexico launches, it's a successful launch because of what you did today.
Great answer. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that makes so much
No problem.
sense. And guys, just so y'all know, like going into these new countries, it's a lot. I mean, it is it is a lot just getting things approved, not necessarily approved because they're not approved there, but like how things are made. Different countries, it's just a whole lot more than what we just think. Oh, it's just going in and filling out some forms and them letting us.
Oh, I wish.
There.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, it's like it is a massive, massive task. And you know, for instance, Canada, we had to be approved with Health Canada, which is huge and actually benefits us here as well. Because from what, and you can tell me if I'm wrong about this, but Health Canada would be like the FDA approving this if FDA approves something like this. So we know the FDA does not approve this, but Health Canada has. And so we can use that and say, you know, Health Canada has approved this. And so it's kind of a benefit to us to know that. Did I say that correctly?
Oh, you said it perfectly. To give you an example, there's an entity in Australia specifically that's very similar to the FDA, and they are so much more strict. And so when they say they're going to come and do an inspection, I mean, it's white glove inspection. It's amazing. So being approved in that market with certain products globally, for people who are aware of that, actually boosts your credibility. And so it's a fantastic way to do it.
And just because we only start with a few of our products does not mean that each country will not get more products. It's just how the process works and the time that it takes literally to get every single product approved. Because, you know, a lot of people don't know that. And that's something that I have learned it is just this huge, big thing.
And one of the beautiful parts about going to other countries, this is actually something that lit me up when I started doing it, was you go into certain countries and they have obviously very different regulations. Without going jumping into that, what you'll see is enhanced formulas because of that. Because if we find that whatever we're doing that may not necessarily make it in the country because it doesn't meet our minimum effectiveness level of other products, like it's not getting the effectivity we want, it'll cause the scientists to go back and see how we can work with that country's regulations and make the product even more effective. So it causes us to evolve as a company in addition. So you're actually getting better, cleaner products because of this global awareness of what other countries are doing. So it's half the fun of what we do.
Yeah, it's very interesting how you can use all of the other for, you know, even our business here. So.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Any more questions, guys? I can't see y'all because I can't get my screen to fix. So.
Oh, no.
I don't know what I've done. There's no telling.
Hey, it's Zoom. It's going crazy. It's all right.
It's all right. We just flow with it. It's real life around here. Everybody knows that. Okay. Well, if we don't have any more questions, I'm going to let Brian go because he has a very busy week with lots of people at corporate. So
we're having fun.
Yeah, it is. It's a fun week for y'all, for sure. Alicia's there right now. If y'all don't know, she is at the leadership training. It starts today. So she's at corporate right now. And I know she's going to come back fired up and excited because it's an amazing training. So it's good stuff. So, okay. Well, thank you so much for being on, Brian.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Brian.
Y'all are welcome. Again, reach out to me through Facebook if you have questions after the fact. If you still have any concerns about working in a language where you're not really sure about it, let's talk. I'm more than happy to work with you through it. You're going to hear me say this a lot when we work together. There's two phrases that are just getting down into you. The first one is progress and pivot. Be willing to be a disaster at first because you have to. It's got to be messy before it gets better. Number two, give discomfort its due. For anything to become better, for anything to actually build, we're not going to be comfortable with it at first because it's unknown territory. So go ahead and allow yourself to be uncomfortable with something and still do it anyways, because you'll figure it out faster and better than anything else. And I'm always here as a resource for you. I mean, last night somebody had a question about somebody who didn't have a tax ID. We worked through it on their own prospecting little chat with the person, and that person is on the right track now. So feel free to use me anytime you need. I'm here for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right,
everybody.
we'll see you later this week.